Tonight's edition of our Nation Sports Show is dedicated to the memory of marvelous Marvin Hagler, who passed away on March the 13th. Hagler was 66 years old. He is regarded as one of the greatest pound-for-pound professional boxers in the world. Hagler started boxing in 1973, boxing from 1973 to 1987. He had 67 professional fights, winning 62 of them, 52 wins by way of knockout. Hagler won the undisputed middleweight championship of the world, successfully defending that championship 12 different times from 1980 to 1987. Hagler holds the best knockout percentage rate by any middleweight with 78%. He also holds the third longest undisputed championship title reign by any professional boxer. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame and the World Boxing Hall of Fame. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family of marvelous Marvin Hagler. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we pay tribute to a legend, a man that left it out in the ring, a man who left a legacy out there for all of us. We will cherish the memories that he brought to all of us. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our Nation Sports Show dedicates tonight's episode to marvelous Marvin Hagler.
One year ago, we were hit with a pandemic that we have never seen before. We have lost loved ones, and we still remember them. But at this time, we ask that you cherish the ones that are living, and please wear your mask and be vaccinated.
Well. Just when you thought the money was done flowing, last week on our Nation Sports Show, we broke down the Dallas Cowboys signing Dak Prescott to a 4-year, $160 million contract. On Friday, just when you thought the money spending frenzy was over, Tom Brady said, "You ain't seen nothing yet." Fresh off his 7th Super Bowl championship victory with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Bowl 55, Brady signed a 4-year deal, keeping him with Tampa Bay. Can the greatest quarterback of all time keep the championships flowing with Tampa Bay? Also, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time has decided to call it quits as Drew Brees has announced his retirement. Now, the big question on every Saints fan around the world and around the Big Easy: who is the next heir apparent to replace Drew Brees? Will it be Jameis Winston? Jason Hill will answer that question as well. Also, tonight, we break down the latest free agent signings in the National Football League, such as Matt Prater and A.J. Green joining the Arizona Cardinals. Green joining receivers DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald with quarterback Kyle Murray. And back in February, as we all know, one of the greatest defenders of his generation, J.J. Watt, signed with the Cardinals as well. Now, later on this year in the fall, can the Cardinals make that push, that playoff run later on when the NFL season starts later on in September of this year? Also, tonight, we continue our 2021 MLB Season Preview, as tonight we preview the AL Central. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, as next week is the final preview of our 2021 MLB Season Preview as we preview the AL and the NL East. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. The Nation speaks next. the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Busted Open Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Jon Blayne, Carl Ross, Kevin Statman McDonald, Ezra Victor, and Stephen Wyand.
Good evening, everybody. This is another installment of the Our Nation Sports Show coming live to you like we do every Thursday night right here on YouTube. You can want to get in contact with us. You can do that in many different ways. Option one, if you listen to us on Discord, go to the voice channel, look for Our Nation Sports Show, which you can hear, so you can call in if you have any questions or comments about what we have on tap for tonight. Option two, if you're watching us on YouTube, there is a chat part of YouTube as well. Go there, chat with us. Our moderators will look at it and we'll answer your questions that way. Option number three is our social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. We're constantly posting news stories, you name it, whatnot. But enough of me blabbing. Let me get to the great crew I have here. Starting off with Ezra, who last week made his debut. He did such a great job, we decided to bring it back for week number two. Ezra, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on our Nation Sports Show again. Can't wait to talk some football and baseball with y'all.
Absolutely. Now, last week he almost gave me an aneurysm. So let's go to him now. Kevin, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Well, now that you bring up the fact that I almost gave you an aneurysm, are you ready for part two tonight?
Oh, good God.
Because I see some fireworks in the future. Some lightning strikes, some thunder rolling. Let's go. Let's go.
A lot more explosions in a certain other program on a different show.
Yeah, there's going to be a big kaboom, maybe. I don't know.
Is there going to be an extra kaboom? I thought there was going to be a big old kaboom. Well, we might have one now for you.
Budget's just a little bit thin right now, so there might be a big kaboom, or it might just be a big kaflop.
All right, well, he's fine his kaboom. Let's go to the man who is responsible for providing us with the intro tonight and providing us with the audio. That's Stevie Wonder, Stephen Wyand. Steve, how you doing tonight?
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's talk some sports right about now. Let's go.
Now, last guy I want to get to is the guy who he's also a pain in the ass, but I know he does it out of love. And that's Carl Roberts. Carl, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, guys? Ready for a great show tonight?
Absolutely. But before we get to at the NFL stuff, Carl, you had mentioned something in our pre-show meeting that you wanted to touch on quickly. So
yeah. So most of you that do the marathons across the country, or you've been to the Boston Marathon, you would always see this father-son team. They've been in 32 Boston Marathons, over 1,000 marathons total. Unfortunately, yesterday morning, a icon in the marathon community by the name of Dick Hoyt passed away at the age of 80. You always used to see him push around his son, who was a quadriplegic. They started back in 80, 81, and have been in multiple races every year. They were basically going to give it up in 2014. However, we had the Boston bombing during the marathon. So they came back the following year to finish the race that they started. And since 2015, Dick Hoyt has been the Grand Master of the Boston Marathon. And again, unfortunately, he passed away in his sleep yesterday. So please keep the family in your mind and prayers. And that's what I got right there.
yes, we want to send our regards to them as well. And as you saw in our intro, we're also dedicating tonight's show to a legendary boxer, which we will get to when we get to our new segment that we're airing on the show this week. But we'll touch on that briefly. But was there any deals going on in the NFL this last week?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I think there was.
There was a few.
Oh my
I
God,
think it's been a pretty slow news day this past week. I don't know what the issue is.
I couldn't seem to find anything regarding the NFL this week.
Well, you didn't see the one where the camera went to Giants?
Shut up! Shut up!
9 minutes in. Here we go.
9 minutes in. It's Nation Night Fight Night right now.
But yeah,
For everything that I started last week, and I fully admit that I started it last week, he's probably not going to go to the Jets, but the Giants is still a possibility, even with whatever this slow news stuff is.
I'm going to ignore that comment. But yes, there's been quite a bit of movement going on in the National Football League. As many people know, right now, well, yesterday was the start of the new league season, and 3 days before that was when you can legally tamper, where you can talk to other players, and man, oh man, my phone has been literally buzzing the last 3 days with all these signings and all of these moves that have been going on. So the first thing I want to throw out to you guys, I'll throw it out to YouTube and Discord as well. Before we get to the individual moves themselves, was there one move that surprised you at all? Ezra, we'll go with you first.
Definitely me being as I've mentioned before, a diehard Chicago Bears fan. The move to get, we ended up getting Andy Dalton, and we got him on a, I believe it was how many years? A 1-year contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, we got him on a 1-year contract. It's a move that's been not too popular among Bears fans because a lot of people were expecting Russell Wilson. But from what reports and rumors have speculated, that they tried to give them everything: draft picks, cash considerations, players, and Seattle would just not take it, and they wanted to keep Russ there. So that's kind of a move that shocked the ever-living hell out of me. Was seeing going to see Andy Dalton in a Bears uniform, which I never thought in my wildest dreams I would see. I'm not going to give too much grief about it because he hasn't played a single snap with the current O-line with the Bears. So I'm going to give it time to see what happens. And the fact that one thing I want to mention is that, of course, Mitchell Trubisky, we just found out, is moving on to be the backup of Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills, which means the Trubisky era is officially over in Chicago. But that's one big one that kind of took me by surprise, was the signing of Andy Dalton.
And as a bit of an aside, with Mitchell Trubisky today signing with Buffalo, that's perfect for him. He gets a spot to play behind Josh Allen, who's around the same age as him, who in his third year in the NFL this year, he improved greatly. He took the team all the way to the AFC Championship game. He played well. And he's also got a very bright mind in offensive coordinator Brian Daboll to go and work with.
Yes.
So maybe this is a spot where in the next year or two, Trubisky goes and learns from a couple of really good guys, and say Josh Allen breaks his thumb in his throwing hand. He's out 4 games. Trubisky steps in and he lights it up, and now a team is wanting him.
Let me ask you guys this: as far as with Trubisky, do you guys think that if he does well under the studies of Josh Allen and that offensive scheme, do you guys think that he's going to be a good quarterback if he's got a good system backing him? Because, I mean, Chicago has always been a pretty inconsistent team. I mean, they had good players on their offense, but Trubisky's play was so inconsistent up and down. Like, there might be a game, 300 yards, 200 yards, and there might be a game, 100 yards, 87 yards, whatever. 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns. Sometimes a touchdown, sometimes no touchdown, sometimes 3 picks, 4 picks, you name it, I hope that Trubisky, does a good job, understudy with Allen. And I think if he does, who knows, maybe he could be a good quarterback for another team.
And that's the thing that I've been preaching for a while, is that it's the inconsistency that's been the biggest problem with Chicago. It's been the inconsistency on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, they've got it. They got it in spades. We know that.
Yes.
They have a great defensive line, great linebackers, great cornerbacks. We have that whole thing. It's always been the pride for the past couple of years, but our offensive line and our offense in general has been so anemic and inept. And part of that is Trubisky seems like he's almost afraid to throw the ball, and he needs to come. It's his third year in the NFL, second year in the NFL. He needs to come out of that shell. And I think maybe this change of pace, maybe this change of a new team and a new offensive scheme and a new offensive, overall with a new coach, new offensive coordinators, maybe that's the thing that'll wake Trubisky up and maybe get him out of his shell to be that elite quarterback that he could be.
Well, I think the thing that you can also look at with Trubisky, I mean, he's not a terrible quarterback.
No.
I mean, I've seen a lot worse than him, but it could just be something simple. He wasn't in the right system. And maybe, I mean, Andrew, you're a Bears fan. Correct me if I'm wrong here. He didn't have any time to adjust, so to speak.
Not really at all. They just basically threw him gave him the helmet and said, "Let's go." When other quarterbacks were getting injured, when we were going through the transitions of losing like Jay Cutler, interception king, as I like to call him.
Yep.
But yeah, when we were in that transition, they just basically threw Trubisky a helmet, Bears uniform, said, "Let's go." They didn't give him time to adjust to the new system and the new scheme of the offense, and with that could cause problems. That's like throwing somebody into a brand new job, throwing them to a factory job, and say, "Hey, build this," without giving them the proper training. And to me, that's part of the reason why. But also, Trubisky, like I said, he just needs to be a little bit more braver when it comes to throwing the ball, and that's something that I noticed watching Bears games for the past couple seasons. And I think maybe, like I said, this could open it up for him, and he could be that elite quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it could be. We don't know for sure what happened with him in Chicago. It could be a whole slew of things. We're just speculating right now, guys. But I think Trubisky going to Buffalo, he can work under Allen. They have the pieces there to make a run. We saw it last year with them.
Had a great team. I mean, the receiving core and the defense was vastly improved, and the coaching was excellent. And to Ezra's point about Chicago, I think Chicago Bears fans are sometimes very impatient, just like Philadelphia Eagles fans, because they expect greatness out of their team because they're so passionate about their football team. And Trubisky, to me, didn't, like Ezra was saying, didn't have a lot of time to get his feet wet. And when he wasn't playing good, the fans were voicing their opinions about his play. And when he was doing good, they're like, "All right, he's doing pretty good." But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I just think with me, I mean, Steven, you made the comment before about Philly Chicago fans are like Philadelphia fans. I know there's some people on this crew who like to pick on the Giants, not mentioning names, but the Giants fans are also impatient. Think about being in New York and the fact that they haven't done anything in a couple of years. Their last playoff run was 2016, and to me, it's I don't know. But Kevin, what about you? What was one move that kind of surprised you?
It's not one move, it's a whole list of moves, and it's the Patriots just deciding to open the checkbook and give it to just anybody and everybody who was available, between getting both the top two targets in the tight end position, in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, getting Matthew Judon, Dalvin Walchuk, re-signing their own. It showed that Bill didn't like going 7-9. That Bill saw he had the deficiencies.
Yep.
And it also shows that they're going to the old two tight end attack that they had when there was Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez back in the early 2010s. And that was very difficult to go hand to hand against, if you remember watching those games.
Oh, yeah.
And the signing of Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar just seems, at the time when it was just Jonnu Smith, I'm looking at those two signings thinking they're basically the same player, just Aguilar does have a little bit of that breakaway, fly forward, catch the ball speed. And then Hunter Henry signs, and I'm like, oh, no. Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne are those slot guys that'll complement really well with this two tight end headed attack. And you couple that with hopefully what looks like it'll be a power running game with Damian Harris and Sony Michel. Hopefully the offensive line works out well. The one issue I have is losing Joe Tooney, I think that's going to hurt. And I think Trent Brown without offensive line coach Dante Scarnecchia, I don't know if he's going to have the motivation to want to keep playing at a high level. That's the only part that I'm a little iffy about. But other than that, it's great. They just need to get a quarterback. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Cam Newton's not the quarterback of the New England Patriots, and if they think that's who's going to be the Week 1 starter, they're destined for another 7-8 win season. Even with these new weapons, Cam is not the quarterback he used to be. And I don't think he's ever going to get to that point again.
And to piggyback off
that's
what
why
you
he's
just
going
said,
to the Giants.
and just to piggyback off what Kevin is saying about Mr. Newton, I said it the other day on the Discord server. I said, Cam really, if you guys think about it, he had that one really, really good season. Other than that, he's been pretty good to all right.
Decent.
He's been all right to pretty good. And then during the Super Bowl, he went back down the ladder where we all knew where he would always be at, because he was always that player until he had that one really good year in 2015. But during that Super Bowl, he tremendously decreased his, numbers and people trusting him, because that game he played not a great game, 3 interceptions, fumbled the ball, and did not jump on the ball when the game was still up for grabs.
Yeah, but I think the one thing he did get good at is dressing like a woman.
Because I think he feels like a woman.
Okay.
It's perfect for the Giants.
I think that's going to be the common theme of today's show, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's why there's lightning behind me.
Steven, what about you?
I would have to go with AJ Green signing with Arizona. I mean, man, if Murray has a pretty good offseason as far as throwing the ball and the offensive line steps up their game, man, you talk about a young receiver and 2 veterans. Man, Larry Fitzgerald, Hopkins, and Green. Oh, man. DeAndre with those 2 veterans, man, under his wing. And then you got J.J. Watt lurking in the back on that defensive side of the ball. Man, if Arizona wants to make a push, they have to start somewhere this offseason and get better from there. Because to me, as far as a team that's making all these moves, they have a lot of pressure because they're making these big moves, and I think they want to win. But now it's time to go out and do the big work and win the games and do your job. Don't turn the ball over and play consistent football.
Yeah.
Win the battle of the trenches with the offensive line. Win on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. By the way, Carl, do we have any comments from YouTube?
I've got a few. Tony Teresa's Mitchell Trubisky, whatever, was the Lulu of the Chicago Bears. And he says Cam Newton is the Saint Anger of the Patriots.
Set him free!
But Carl,
Oh God.
Did you just catch that?
Oh.
Keep searching. Keep on searching for a quarterback.
I might throw up. I'm a pretty big Metallica fan, and so the joke with Van Halen, everybody knows it's Van Halen, Van Hagar, and then the Gary Sharona era is called Van. We don't talk about this. That's always the joke. Well, Saint Anger should definitely be the Metallica album that we never talk about. Ever.
right, Kevin, I'm going to send that to you for the holidays and say, look, here's your quarterback.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Okay. The Big Apple needs some Saint Anger too.
I'm going to ignore that comment. Carl, what about you? What's the one move that surprised you?
49ers.
Ooh.
They just signed 36-year-old Joe Flacco.
What?
Really?
Wow.
What? Wow.
49ers are bringing 36-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco in for a visit. Flacco, who spent 2020 with the Jets played for the 49ers quarterback coach, Rich. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name, in Denver. And has been long regarded by Kyle Shanahan as a good fit for his offense. So it looks like they might be signing him within a day or two.
Well, that brings up this question. Where does Jimmy G go from here?
I would still have him be the franchise quarterback. I would have Flacco stay as the backup.
If Kyle Shanahan is smarter than we think and we hope he is, do not pull another stupid move like losing the Super Bowl with Atlanta, the greatest choke job in North American sports history, 28-3 against the Patriots, and blowing the game against Kansas City, losing 31-20 in Super Bowl 54. Do not make an ass out of yourself, Mr. Kyle Shanahan, because if you do, we're not going to be surprised. We're going to be going, why are you starting a guy that hasn't played consistent football or hardly any football at all since he left the Ravens? So, Kyle, if you're smart enough, and I hope you are, you stick with your quarterback, Jimmy G, that got you to the Super Bowl. They could have won the game, but they didn't. It happens sometimes like that. So, again, do your job.
Here's another interesting visitation to a team. The Jets are having a conversation with free agent receiver Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh, I know a certain Steeler fan who's not, or excuse me, two specific Steelers.
Should the deal come to fruition, Smith-Schuster would form a nice wide receive tandem with newly signed Corey Davis.
Yeah, but here's my thing. Hold on. You could have all the wide receivers in the world. You can have a great running back. You need to still have a good quarterback.
They do have a good quarterback.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. The only reason that he sucked the last 2 years because you had wide-eyed, crazy-ass Adam Gase.
Yep.
Ooh. Oh, man.
Well,
the quarterback
Sam
guru.
Donald
Oh my God,
is a
he's
good
fly.
quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
My
Darnold
thing
is a good quarterback. Gase
He's
is an
better than
idiot.
Cam Newton. That's why
Okay.
he's going to the Giants.
Yep.
Shut up! But let me also mention this, though. The big thing I preach, and I preach this on the show from day one, offensive line. And Darnold is good. I will take back what I said about him not doing good. You want to put all these pieces there. That's all well and good. Work on the offensive line.
They just did.
The Jets?
Really?
You're bringing in Corey Davis. You're talking to Juju.
Offensive line, Carl, is the big fat asses that protect the fucking quarterback.
And so far,
I'm starting.
have
Complete
not.
opposites of our host.
What do you want Corey Davis to do? Put on 100 extra pounds? Be an offensive lineman? Hey, instead of catching touchdowns, go and protect your quarterback.
All right. Before this turns into World War III here, looks
Welcome
like
to World War III.
looks like we have some news coming down from the NFL from our own hijacker. Hijacker, if you want to meet yourself, come on in.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, out here in the West, I'm still not a fan of a certain team that left my city, but there's some news coming out of their town that in the first week, there were 5 offensive linemen that started the season for them. Right now, 4 of those offensive linemen, including center Rodney Hudson and tackle Gabe Jackson, are no longer with the team.
Ooh.
So 5 starting guys from week 1 this past season is no longer with the team. I can't call the other guys' names, but I saw that on Twitter last night and thought it was very interesting. Back to you guys.
Thank you for that update.
Thank you, hijacker.
I swear. You want to say the comment?
Sure. Uh-oh. So our good friend
Cam
Tony
Newton to the Giants?
The greatest truck driver of all time, Tony Adams.
says the New York Giants are the Gary Sharon of the NFL.
Well, his team. Well, here's the thing with his team. his teams used to use VHS tapes to watch their Super Bowl.
Tony is the Nelson of the Busted Open Nation. He is the Nelson. You are the Nelson twins. Don't you even try that. I can't live without your love and affection.
Oh, Jesus. But
thank you, Sam in New York. We appreciate that.
yeah, but here's the thing, though. I think the big move with me is one that actually came down today, and you can call me a homer if you want, but the Giants bringing in Kyle Rudolph. Yes,
Yeah.
I know he's kind of gone a little bit downhill in the last, couple of years, but maybe the Giants are starting to realize now they can't rely entirely on Evan Ingram.
Well,
Yeah, thank
I will say this, John. I think Rudolph can provide some veteran leadership to that team. He can help the young guys and try to get them to become better receivers and run their routes better. Because obviously when he was in Minnesota, he had some good seasons with them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just think, to me, you put him there, have Evan Ingram kind of learn from him. The Giants are going to be one of those teams to look out for. But you want to get to some other news. And yes, folks, I know I cut out a lot of the free agency talk, but we could be here for 27 years going over every pick that happened. But want to get into some other news that actually broke earlier today, and that was about the new deal with ESPN and ABC regarding the NFL. Here's part of it. ESPN and ABC have been added to the Super Bowl rotation. So basically, here's how it's going to be played out. CBS will get the Super Bowl in 23, 27, and 31. Fox will get it in 24, 28, 32. NBC will get it in 25, 29, and 33. ESPN and ABC will, I guess the way they're going to do it is ESPN will get it in 26, and ABC will get it in 30.
That sounds about correct.
That, I guess I'm putting two and two together.
Yes, you can count.
I have the article up, or I should say press release from NFLcommunications.com, and ABC will have the rights to both Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They will also be able to have select games on ABC instead of on like ESPN, or it could be like a special type of deal.
Well, that's what I'm trying to see if I can find the exact. Okay, here we go. This is according to Adam Schefter. ESPN Plus will stream one exclusive national game each year, starting in the year of 2022 season. Started in 2023, ESPN will broadcast a wildcard game and a divisional playoff game. As we know, for years, it usually was CBS or NBC or Fox. Now it's going to ESPN. The third thing from what I got here is flex scheduling will be added to Monday Night Football for Week 12 and beyond.
Ooh.
So you have all that. Plus, the other part of that news is DirecTV.
Yes.
The NFL Sunday Ticket package will be done starting at, I think, 2021 will be the last season. Because the other part of that deal is that ESPN Plus will be streaming the games. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. I don't want to stress this big time. They will stress out of market games. So if you're in, me being Long Island, I can't get the Giants or Jets on there. Ezra can't get Chicago. Steven, you couldn't get Carolina, the Panthers, but you could get your team in the 49ers.
Right.
Kevin, who wants to watch, that garbage team in New England, won't be able to get it on there. That's basically the whole point of it.
Yeah, it's known as blackout restrictions.
Yep.
You see it in the MLB app and the NHL app. It prevents you from watching your hometown team because you already have a way to go and watch your hometown team.
Absolutely.
Via, especially with MLB and NHL, your own network to go and watch it on. Unfortunately for me, I'm screwed when it comes to watching MLB and NHL because I have YouTube TV and my local broadcasting channel for the Bruins and the Red Sox, Nesson, and YouTube TV are having a spat over money because, of course, money just controls everything in the known universe. So the only way that I've been able to go and watch the Bruins so far is when they're on NBC or NBC Sports Network or over the radio.
And as you found out, no, go ahead.
No, and just honestly, over the radio just sounds so much better when you think about it, really.
It does.
Oh, yeah. And the one thing, like we found out in our interview with Pete Weber that actually premiered right before we went live tonight, they're also getting rid of NBCSN.
Yep.
Which is partial the reason why there's been talks of moving the, because NBCSN always does the Wednesday night games. That's why they want to move that to USA Network. That's part of the reason why NXT is moving to Tuesday nights for that reason.
Now, that is all kind of thrown into disarray because the NHL and NBC and their negotiations for the broadcasting rights are far apart in money. Obviously, we now know that ESPN is going to be hosting for, I believe, a 10-year contract. ESPN had the broadcast rights to NHL games, and the NHL is actively talking with other broadcast networks, Fox and CBS being the two that I read, to be able to go on broadcast games as well in case the NBC negotiations just really never get any closer.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl, you said we have a comment from Discord?
Yeah, on Discord, Joe, mute yourself. Come on in, bud.
All right, this one's a real one. This isn't no Sam from Cleveland or anything else like that. Part of that broadcast, too, that you're talking about with the blackouts, you've got to take a look at the way that they actually see these blackouts. Now, I know most of y'all are up in the Northeast and everything has a regional, feel to it. But when you go throughout the country, you're going to see that multiple states share that same blackout rule. So let's just say that you are like for me in North Carolina, and Steve can probably attest to this, we are considered both Georgia and Carolina for Fox, but we were considered at one point to be Washington. In fact, for baseball, we're also considering that, and they have their own regional zone, which is a completely different subject. But those out-of-market games for somebody like me who is a Jets fan, I've got no problem with that, and I would love to see that. And that's something that should be taken in consideration. It does kind of suck, but that's the reason why that local blackout market there is because the team owners want you to go to the game if it is available. The way around that, where that blackout thing comes out, is if the capacity is over 95%. So if they are able to get above 95% capacity, they should not be limited in that blackout restriction. That's part of the general thing. That's the reason why there was a couple games, even though who the hell was it? I'm not sure if it was either Dallas or Jacksonville. They were supposed to be on their local thing, but they were having trouble if they could have stayed on because they didn't even make that sellout market. In fact, the sellout market, it's lower than 95%. It's at 75%. So somewhere in between that part right there, they have to show it on that. So. And now one thing I will also say too, that ESPN Plus game, if it's going to be, if it's going to be anything, it's just going to be a playoff game, right? It's not going to be a regular season game.
No, from what I read in the beginning, it's going to be a playoff game. And then by 2023, I think it's going to be all the out of market games.
Just as long as it doesn't have Joe Buck.
Passes.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Fuck Joe Buck. But I'm just wondering about that. The reason why I say that is because when ESPN gets that games, there's not as many subscribers. If they're going to be having an NFL game, there are far less subscribers to ESPN Plus than there are people that are actually watching the NHL right now on NBCSN, which drew a 0.11 on Wednesday night. Oof. By the way, put that in perspective too of how much money the NHL is giving USA and NBC for those games and the drawing that they make. 0.11.
Yeah.
And what's NXT drawing? 0.63. Just say.
I know.
So, all right.
Hockey is definitely not the most popular of the
No, it's not.
of the pro sports.
No, but Joe is right. You know, especially here with us being here in the Carolinas. I mean, we don't get the Panther games on the Sunday ticket because, well, we live in the Carolina area. You know, and you know, when this deal goes through with ESPN Plus, ta-da! We're not going to get any Carolina games because guess what? It's going to get blacked out. So that means we get to have more opportunities to watch other teams.
Yeah,
which is great.
absolutely.
One thing I'll add with this news from you, John, is that Thursday Night Football is solely going to be Amazon. So Amazon Prime Video is going to have the exclusive Thursday Night Football home.
Yep. And before we put a wrap on this NFL thing, it was just announced, and Ezra, I bring this up because you're a Bears fan. According to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, the Chicago Bears are releasing two-time Pro Bowler and one-time All-Pro cornerback Kyle Fuller.
Wow.
It's been kind of rumored for a while that they were gonna let Fuller go. I mean, I know with having to restructure contracts, especially on the defensive side of the ball with Khalil Mack and a couple other players with Cody Whitehair. We talked about that last week. And they're trying to meet the salary cap that has been set for this year by the NFL organization. I can understand why. I mean, it sucks. Fuller was a great cornerback. That man could pursue, you know, receivers just like to no end. The guy was great in his position. To me, he was one of the most underrated cornerbacks in the entire league. He didn't get enough respect, in my opinion. He's going to be a great cornerback for another team. That is for certain. We're going to miss him over in Chicago, but I guarantee you he's going to tear it up for somebody else, and he's going to help them, and he's going to help them out on the defensive side of the ball.
And I'll piggyback off what Ezra just got through saying. I'll ask you guys this: where do you guys think he's going to go after he left Chicago?
Good question.
Really good question.
There's really no wrong team because I think every team can use a cornerback. It's just who's willing to pay him money.
The thing is, if he wants to go to a contending team, we have to think about the teams that need a cornerback. I mean, Green Bay could use a good corner. Kansas City could use a good corner. You know,
don't even say Green Bay.
Now you know who else could? And I'm not going to say this because I'm a homer. Look at my team.
The Giants. Yes, the Giants need him.
They also need Cam Newton.
The Niners could use him.
Hell, the Jets could even use him. They want.
Yeah. Pittsburgh.
No, I'm being serious though, because
I know. But Pittsburgh could use him. I mean, you know, there's a lot of teams out there that could use him.
So no, not gonna say what I was about to say. Not gonna say what I was about to say.
I think Fuller could fit into any team.
He was going to say the Patriots could use him.
No.
No.
Fuller can fit into any team, I think, because it's just like I said, it's a matter of who needs a cornerback here and now. And it's going to be interesting to see what develops over the next couple months as far as any more movement. If any team releases a cornerback, that could be an open slot right there for Fuller to sneak in there if they're willing to pay him a decent amount of money for him to play that position. But that's going to be all in time.
Yeah. I think the big thing we have to look at with all these moves is, believe me, yeah, I mean, yes, folks, there are other moves that have happened. We're not taking that away. But there's a lot of them are shocking. And it was brought up actually in Discord a couple days ago that people are surprised that there's a lot of low value contracts.
Why are you people surprised?
Here's my only question. The way the NFL makes their money is by having fans in the stands, parking, food, souvenirs. Except for Kansas City and Jacksonville, was there any other, and Dallas, no other team had that. So the fact that, a lot of these teams made their money solely on TV deals. So that's why you're seeing a lot of 1, 2, 3 year deals. Yes, I mean, you're seeing like the one guy in San Fran who just got paid $138 million, who's I think a defensive player.
I believe so.
That's one of the few rare ones. But most of the contracts that you're seeing now are only going to be a 1 or 2 year deal because the teams didn't make money last year.
Nope.
If anything, a lot of these teams fell not into debt, but lost quite a bit of money because they had no fans.
You got to also realize too, we got hit with this pandemic, dude, everybody, and it basically stopped everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slowly coming back.
I mean, here's the best way I look at it.
That's why we said in our intro that we got hit. Yes, we lost loved ones, but cherish the ones that are still alive.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing I look at. I'll give you MetLife Stadium, for example. Do you know how much they charge for parking at MetLife Stadium?
Way too much money.
Yeah. I remember, mind you, I haven't been there in a couple of years, but if I remember correctly, it's $50 for a Giant game and $25 for a Jet game. You get a full stadium in there, you're making quite a bit of money.
Hold on, wait a second, John. I got to stop you there. I can remember for years, the Jets couldn't even sell out a single game.
Carl's
They
right.
were down at $5 a ticket.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It all depends on who they're playing. I mean, let's call a spade here.
It didn't matter who they were playing,
it
dude.
also depends on how they're doing, John. I mean, my God, why the hell are you going to charge $125 a ticket to a freaking Jets game when the Jets are a freaking wreck?
Well, I said this years ago when the 2011 Red Sox, they were doing really well towards the end. They faltered at the end of it. We had the whole Popeyes and beer issue going on in the locker room with Josh Beckett and et al. And then the next year they sucked. They were horrible, but it was the 100th year anniversary of Fenway Park. Let's all buy a brick, folks. Buy a brick for $100. No, fuck that. I'm not buying a brick for $100 for your team that fucking sucks this year. No, I'm not doing it.
No.
John, look how many times they took the Jets game off of Monday Night Football.
Oh, I know.
That tells you a lot about the team.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a game? I'm trying to remember. Wait, I think it was the year that Tim Tebow was with the Jets as the backup. There was that game between the Jets and I believe it was the Titans. That game was ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Well, there's also been blowouts that have been ugly. I mean, I still remember Thanksgiving night all those years ago when Mark Sanchez in a broken play that I will admit in an unbiased way, it was a broken play. It was supposed to be a handoff. The guy he was handing off to wasn't there. So Mark tried to riff and just go with it. And instead he ran into the backside of an offensive lineman. So as a Patriots fan, it is an absolute riot. I love it. He tasted butt meat and a butt fumble. It was awesome. But as an unbiased sports fan, it was a broken play and it sucks. That's how it went.
But that's the problem with that play. That's living with him for the rest of his life.
That was the same year as the butt fumble with that horrible game on Monday Night Football. It was towards the end of the year. It was the Jets, and I believe it was the Titans, like I said. That game was close, but it was ugly. It was a disgrace, the football. It's like this past season with the Washington football team against Philadelphia. What was that? Gimme turnovers? Come on.
Getting back to Carl's point about the fact that, teams were not making money because of no fans, no beer sales, no souvenir sales. And you got to also think would not only couple with the effects of the pandemic, but also like I've been mentioning, the salary cap, new salary cap agreement that was made by all the teams.
Is a lot lower than what it was.
It's a lot lower than what it was because they have to compensate for the loss of revenue. So they have to balance that out. And with that, you can't do too many high ball offers. Because then how are you going to sign other players in the future in case a player gets injured or in case a player quits the team or something happens? You got to have that necessary wiggle room to work. And right now, with the loss of revenue from the pandemic, with the new agreement on the salary cap, there is absolutely no way that teams can do a bunch of teams could do all these high ball offers.
Here, look how many players are actually restructuring their contract to be lower to save money on the salary cap.
Absolutely.
A lot of
Your
teams
biggest
right now
one that is restructuring their contract? Patrick Mahomes.
Holy cow!
He's
gonna
restructuring
restructure?
his contract for lower money.
And he signed that mega deal last year before the beginning of the season.
Correct.
Wow.
Wow.
And
So
he
I would
approached the team to do it, not the other way around.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like Mahomes is taking less money, obviously reporting, and Tom Brady for the Buccaneers, fresh off his 7th Super Bowl championship against the Chiefs against Super Bowl 55, excuse me. The fact that Brady and Mahomes are taking less money.
How many times has Brady done that in his career up in New England?
A lot.
To save guys. He's
And
like, here,
Mahomes-
take money off of my contract, give it to them.
And Mahomes is doing the right thing for his team.
Exactly. And I respect a player better for doing that than saying, no, I deserve the money you're paying me. I'm not lowering it.
Sorry, Dak Prescott. Like I said last week, you're a failure. You failed for Dallas in 2017 against Green Bay, and that contract you got is a disgrace to sports fans from around the world, especially to your Dallas Cowboys franchise. You don't deserve that money because you haven't earned it. Go out there, bust your ass, and do your job, and maybe we could talk about a contract. Like I said last week, you will fail.
it's safe to say that the two players that Steven does not like is Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott.
John, I like Aaron Rodgers because he is a good quarterback, but I didn't like what he did in that playoff game against Tampa Bay. It's 4th goal from the 8-yard line, 2 minutes left to go in the game, and you don't throw a touchdown, you kick a field goal. The simple fact that Rodgers is one of those guys, he reminds me of one of those baseball players that is great, one of those basketball players at times back in his day, LeBron, that didn't get the job done when it mattered the most. Again, with Prescott, with this contract last week, signing that 4-year deal for $160 million. He's not worth the money that Mr. Jones is paying him.
What's up, Carl?
Mr. Adams writes, and Dak Prescott, who hasn't won a Super Bowl, is getting the contract he's getting. And I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, and I'm saying that.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
You know
No,
why?
no.
You want to know why Tony Adams is the greatest truck driver of all time? Because he's a real sports fan. He's a real truck driver. Hell, he knows how to park a freaking truck better than that woman on Tuesday night when we were on Zoom. She couldn't park a truck to save her dadgum life. She was parking that some bitch for like 5 or 6 times and couldn't get it right. You have to have people in life that do their job. Truck drivers, quarterbacks, pitchers, outfielders, shortstop players, shooting guards. Do your job. If you make your money as far as playing right and doing good, then you can make your money. Greedy.
And the only place you will get quarterbacks compared to truck drivers is here on our nation's sports show.
Thank you for that.
That's correct.
That is
I
correct.
do have one thing to add. It's the last thing I want to add about the NFL free agency because I know we have other things to talk about.
Yep.
But the reason that you're seeing a lot of these restructures is what's called a voidable year. It's a legal way to circumvent the salary cap. Essentially, it's like if there's anybody in here who's watched the Mission Impossible movies, it's, this tape will self-destruct after it's done playing. Essentially, Brady, Taysom Hill, all these guys that are signing these contracts with 4-year extensions have voidable years. They play one season and then the contract, it basically tears itself apart. That's how they're able to go and circumvent the cap. That's how they're able to go and save money. And it is very, very weird that Taysom Hill is getting a 4-year extension for $140 million that is going to save the Saints money. It's a very weird and convoluted thing that I don't want to get too much into because it'll just take way too long and confuse all of us.
All right.
Why in the hell is the Saints paying this guy, a guy who is not a true pocket passer? What have you done besides run for your freaking life in New Orleans? You are not the answer in the Big Easy to Drew Brees. Jesus Christ. Can somebody get a quarterback that can throw? It's not Jameis Winston because this guy's a turnover machine. I can't even speak right tonight because I'm so pissed off and I about this stuff.
Tongue-tied?
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Football's only 30-30, man.
Guys, hijacker, unmute yourself. come on in because we're going to actually go to it's a new segment we are debuting on the show. So, Hijacker, take it away.
What's up, y'all?
What up?
Going on?
As you guys will see every week, I will be debuting a segment called Nation Night Fights. It will be your weekly boxing report. I will set up a recorded segment on boxing news, past fights from the previous weekend, upcoming fights for the upcoming weekend. So I hope you guys enjoy this quick 11-minute preview I will show you of episode number 1. And you boys ready to roll?
Let go.
Let's do it. Here we go.
Yeah, I see you staring at that number 1 contender. It's Nation Night Fights, and I want that title. That's right. Let's hit that bell, player. Let's get this rumble rolling. Let's go. Is you nervous, Cuddy? Yeah, I see you sweating. I see you. Ain't no time to turn back now. It's that bell, player. It's time to go now, Trek. What you saying? Ain't no time for backing out now. I'm coming at you orthodox stance style. Finna switch it up when I'm ready with you, player. Hit you with that official southpaw pride. Come toss me that combo now. Before I throw this left and make you wobble, child. Oh, you gonna be hard-headed now? Screw it, I'm coming at you Iron Mike style. Dropping you to the canvas right now. That's right, player. Nation, welcome to Nation Night Fights, your boxing report weekly with your boy Hijacker Mike.
What's that, Nation? Welcome to the first edition of Nation Night Fights, a boxing weekly report, recapping all the week's past fights, upcoming fights, with news along the way in the boxing world. I am your West Coast boy, Hijacker Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, on March 13th, we truly lost a southpaw legend in the world of boxing, Mr. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Someone I watched during my childhood during his tenure in the 1980s. He had the second longest title reign in the 20th century at 6 years and 7 months long. He was a true undisputed middleweight champion from 1980 to 1987. Named Fighter of the Decade for the 1980s by Boxing Illustrated magazine, twice Fighter of the Year from the Ring magazine and Boxing Writers Association of America in 1983 and also in 85. The Ring magazine named him 4th greatest middleweight of all time. His legendary fights with Alan Minter, where he won the WBA, WBC, and the Ring middleweight titles. Also his bouts with Roberto Duran, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, and his last fight in his professional career versus Sugar Ray Leonard. In 1982, he was annoyed by TV network announcers often were not referring to him by his nickname Marvelous, which led Hagler to legally change his name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He left us boxing fans with a record of 62 wins, 3 defeats, and 2 draws. Marvelous, thank you. God bless you and your family. You will be missed. Godspeed, sir. Let's start off this first edition, 3/18/21, recapping the fights from this past week. First off, we'll talk about from Saturday, 3/13, David Benavidez, 24 wins, no losses, 21 wins by KO, showed a punching display during his fight with Ronald Ellis, 18 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws with 12 KOs. In this one-sided matchup, stopping Ellis during the 11th round on last Saturday night in a WBC 168-pound super middleweight title eliminator fight, Benavidez needed a few rounds to get warmed up, but gave a lopsided beating to Ellis pretty much in all of the first 10 rounds of the bout. During the 11th round, ref Johnny Callis stepped in and stopped the bout. This was at the 2-minute, 3-second mark of the 11th round. This should set up Benavidez and Canelo sometime in the near future. On the same fight card, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, 21, 1-1 with 15 KOs, defeats Mateus Romero, 24-1 with 8 KOs by a 12-round unanimous decision in a WBA 135-pound lightweight title eliminator bout. The judges' scorecards were 114-113, 115-112, 118-109 win, even though during the 6th round, Pitbull Cruz lost a point for a low blow. 154-pound junior middleweight bout with the contender Terrell Goucher, 22-2-1 with 11 KOs, beat Jamonte Clark, 15-2-1 with 7 KOs by a stunning second-round knockout. Goucher landed a solid right hand that put Clark down to the canvas in the second round. After Clark got up, Goucher finished him off with a series of flurry shots before ref Arthur Mercante stepped in and stopped the fight. The time of the stoppage was at 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Also, from American Airlines Center in Dallas this past Saturday night, Juan Francisco Estrada retained his WBC and the Ring Super Flyweight titles and added the WBA Super Flyweight title to his collection with a hard-fought split decision victory over Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. It was a rematch that took just about 8 years in the making after Chocolatito had defeated Estrada in November of 2012. Estrada got the edge in this action-packed back-and-forth battle between the two. This bout was action-packed from the beginning to the end. Estrada unified the titles, but with the series now 1-1, we expected that third fight will happen, and we won't have to wait 8 years. This fight made history in the 115-pound super flyweight division by setting a record of 2,529 punches thrown in the fight, with Estrada landing 314 of 1,212, 26%, while Chocolatito landed 391 of his 1,317 punches thrown, 30%. Estrada, who came out on top with one scorecard of 115-113 and a rather strange scorecard that had him ahead 117-111, and the third judge scorecard favored Chocolatito 115-113. Quick news from this fight: the World Boxing Association, WBA, has officially placed veteran ring official Carlos Sucre on temporary suspension less than a day after his role as a ringside official for the rematch. On another fight that happened Sunday night, Jessica McCaskill, with a record of 10 wins, 2 losses, 3 by the way of KO, has retained her WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO welterweight titles in a unanimous decision over Cecilia Brækhus. She's 36-2 with 9 KOs in this 147-pound women's welterweight division bout by a scorecard of 110-89, 99-90, and 98-91. This fight was back and forth from the start. These two traded combos and hard punches round by round. McCaskill gets the huge upset victory as some of the observers felt Brækhus had fought hard enough to get the win herself. A possible third match in the works? We shall see. In another matchup, Hiroto Kayoguchi versus Alex Aragon Vega. Hiroguchi, 15 wins, no losses, 10 by way of KO in his first bout here in the United States, won by technical knockout and retained his WBA 108-pound light flyweight title. Though this wasn't a typical technical knockout, Alex Aragon Vega, 14-4-1 with 8 KOs. Inside the middle of the 5th round, Vega landed a punch to the side of Kayoguchi's head, which caused Vega to grimace in pain and also turn his back to Kayoguchi. Referee Raul Quez Jr. quickly realized Vega couldn't continue and stopped the bout at the 1 minute 32-second mark of the 5th round. Here's the upcoming fight card for this upcoming weekend for Friday 3/19 and Saturday 3/20. Saturday 3/20 on the DAZN network, we have a 12-round, 200-pound cruiserweight division matchup contest between Lawrence Okoli, 15 wins, 0 losses, and 12 coming by the way of KO, versus Krzysztof Głowacki, 31 wins, 2 losses, with 19 coming by way of knockout. Okoli is currently ranked number 2 by the WBO and number 6 by the Ring, while Głowacki is ranked number 1 by the WBO and number 3 by the Ring in the cruiserweight division. This is for the vacant WBO crown. On the undercard, we have a cruiserweight bout for the vacant WBA continental title between Chris Billum Smith, 11 wins, 1 loss, and 10 KOs, versus Vasil Dukar, 9 wins, 3 losses, with 8 KOs and 1 draw. In a super middleweight WBA international title bout, Anthony Fowler, 13 wins, 1 loss, and 10 KOs versus Jorge Forte, 21 wins, 2 losses, with 7 KOs. Also, Super featherweight bout between Joe Cordina, 11 wins, 0 losses with 7 KOs versus Farouk Korbanov, 17 wins, 2 losses, and 13 KOs. Also in middleweight contention, we have Bradley Ray, 9 wins, 0 losses with 3 KOs versus Lee Cutler, 7 wins, 0 losses, and 4 KOs. And in the women's division, we have Ellie Scotney, 1 win, 0 losses versus Melis Gangloff, 4 wins, 1 loss with 1 KO. Also on Saturday night, 320, we have a welterweight division 12-round bout between Virgil Ortiz Jr., 16 wins, 0 losses, and 0 draws, 16-way of KO, will take on Maurice Hooker, 27 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws, with 18 coming by way of KO. Also on that fight card, we have Annabelle Ortiz versus Sanisa Estrada for Ortiz's WBA women's strawweight title. Also, we have Luis Hernandez versus Alex Martin in the junior welterweight. We also have George Rincon versus Luis Solis in the junior welterweight. We have Hector Valdez versus Alberto Torres in the junior featherweight division. And also, we will have a matchup between Tristan Kalkruth versus Dustin Long in a cruiserweight division matchup. In some quick boxing news, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have reported agreed to terms in a 2-fight contract to unify boxing's heavyweight championships. The 2-fight contract could land each fighter just about $139 million apiece. Dates for both bouts have not yet been determined. Mark Kriegel noted that the first fight could come as early as June or July of this year, with the rematch taking place later on this year in November or possibly December. Also, Mayweather plans to work with Joshua ahead of his $200+ million mega fight with Tyson Fury. Mayweather was ringside last December to watch Joshua retain his heavyweight world titles when he was heard offering tactical advice during the fight and visited the champ's dressing room afterwards. You can reach me, Hijacker Mike, out on Twitter at Mr. Mac, MISTAMACC, or you can also follow me here on YouTube at Hijacker Mike. I don't have a link yet because I need 100 subscribers to get my own personal link. So let's help out with that. We all got to start somewhere, right? Thanks for joining me on my first edition of Nation Night Fights. And I will see you next week, y'all. Back to our Nation Sports Show with the boys. Peace.
That was incredible.
Nice, brother.
Way to go, brother.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Appreciate it. That's what I'd like to bring you. You know, little rough on the edges on the first show, getting a feel for it, but it'll get better in time, man. But how'd y'all like the intro?
Dude,
it was phenomenal.
The intro was phenomenal.
First of all, when you played that in the pre-show for us, we were floored. We were like, holy crap, like this guy. I literally thought you were about to bust and drive. I'm like, say what? I thought Hijacker about to spit some rhymes, son. Damn.
I'm the producer. I'm not the rapper, but hell, I felt it on this one. Being around hip hop artists out here for the last 20 years in the studio, you know, you kind of feel like you can put something down, but you know what? I created the beat and I felt something, so I made a little flow with it, and that's what we got.
No, that was cool. Very
appreciate
cool,
it, boys. Appreciate the time, and you guys got anything for me? I'll let you guys get back to rolling with the show.
By the way, Hijacker, one thing, I'm just looking at the comments right now on YouTube.
What's up?
And everybody is talking about your intro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Nice. I'll have to go check it out. Appreciate it.
We may have to put that intro on the Our Nation Sports Show CD coming out in 2022.
Do that. Let's do it. I'm in it. All right, y'all.
All right. Thank you, Hijacker, for doing that. That was a great thing. If you missed that clip at all, check out our YouTube page. It will probably be on there either later today or tomorrow. But if you want to watch that, I highly recommend watching that. That was some good stuff. I know I promised baseball, but I want to get one quick thing in. College basketball. March Madness starts tomorrow. And the big news coming out of March Madness is 2 teams that didn't make it.
Yep.
The Duke Blue Devils and the Kentucky Wildcats. For the first time since 1976.
75.
70. I'm reading off the article right here.
76?
76.
Okay, 76. Okay.
Here's one interesting thing, because ESPN actually broke down the numbers behind Duke and Kentucky missing March Madness. This is absolutely astonishing. But last time Duke and Kentucky missed March Madness, the first Apple computer was being released.
What? Jeez.
Carl, you were around then, right?
I'm gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And Cam Newton was not even on the Giants then because he wasn't even bored.
Shut up, Steven. Okay, but here's the interesting thing. In 1976, like we mentioned before, when Duke and Kentucky missed the March Madness, who made a run in that tournament?
I have no clue.
Indiana?
Ooh.
Hoosiers? But yes, folks, it's that time of year again, so fill out your brackets, cry when they get broken on Friday afternoon because you didn't pick,
on Twitter
because you didn't pick number 15, Florida, whatever, beating whoever. But yeah, we'll figure out how to incorporate March Madness into the show going further. But yeah, wanted to bring that up because I found that absolutely astonishing that neither of those teams, and those two teams, Stephen, you and I were talking about it during the week, those two teams notoriously make it to the Elite Eight, if not the Final Four.
Oh, yes, because both teams are well coached by their two head coaches. And the fact that they haven't made it since this is the first time they'll be missing it since '76, this is crazy.
Yeah, but I think we also made the point that you look at Krzyzewski and look at Calipari, both of those guys are legends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they missed March Madness. Okay, this won't do anything towards their career.
Nope.
They're both going to be Hall of Fame coaches.
Yep.
And they're both going to go down, arguably, as some of the. I'll even go as far as saying, you talk about college basketball coaches.
Oh, absolutely.
They're on the Mount Rushmore. I don't care what anybody says. They're on the Mount Rushmore of college coaches.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to basketball. But Carl, did you want to say something, or?
I've just got two newses with Major League Baseball before we get into our discussion with the AL Central.
All right. So, that was all I wanted to get to with college wrestling. But yeah, take it away.
So, as you know, the states are allowing the stadiums to open up a little bit more. So, the New York Jets. Woohoo! New York Yankees and the New York Mets will be allowed to start their season at a 20% fan capacity. I mean, it's small, but you know what? It's a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees can have up to 10,850 fans for April 1st, where the Mets will have 8,384 fans in attendance for the April 8th home opener.
I can tell you right now, being a New Yorker, those tickets are going to be tough to get.
Oh, yeah, they're probably sold out already.
Because the thing also is you have to provide a negative COVID test. And I think you have to.
Yep, you have to have a COVID test and you have to show your ID for it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're lucky enough to get tickets for that, take it and run.
Yep.
Take it and run, because just the fact that after what we went through in 2020, the fact that fans are allowed back in the stadiums just shows you that we have to take this stuff for granted.
And I want to bring up something before we get into the baseball talk. Talk about bringing people to events now, with sporting events slowly but surely opening up. Well, news came down this week in the world of MMA that UFC president and owner Dana White has announced that the Ultimate Fighting Championship will be allowing, and I'm not kidding what I'm fixing to say here, full capacity, reportedly, at UFC 261 in April.
Yep,
guys,
in Jacksonville.
What are you guys' thoughts about this news coming down this week?
Stupid move.
Idiotic.
I agree. I agree. It's too soon. It's too soon to be letting in a full stadium of fans when all the vaccinations haven't been rolled out yet.
Nope.
To me, I think I understand.
Some fans I get, but a full arena?
Yeah,
I
but
can see. I can see maybe 40, maybe 45% capacity for UFC because they've been a lot of their events have been closed set, except for whatever staff is there. I know Dana's been doing what he can. I know he has been patient to try and let fans back in. But to me, it's just too soon to be letting in a full stadium of fans right now at this point in time. Maybe in the fall, maybe early spring. I understand he wants to have a full stadium because of the fights that are on that card as well, with Kamal Usman taking on Jorge Masvidal for the welterweight championship in that huge rematch between the two.
Yeah.
I can see why, but you're risking people's health for the sake of making the almighty dollar and getting buy rates and revenue.
But here's the thing, though.
It's not the proper way to do things.
Here's the thing, and I think this is one thing people are forgetting. UFC 261 is held in Jacksonville.
Yes, in his open state.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard stories of people getting in trouble, that people were literally getting in trouble for wearing a mask in public. But Steven, do you have anything else to add? Because I think Carl had one more.
I am good with that. Carl, get to your next story.
The next one, it's kind of interesting. And Kevin and I spoke about this earlier this week. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this. But NBA legend LeBron James just became part owners of the Boston Red Sox. He went and joined the Fenway Sports Group as a partner. So that means he's part owner of the Red Sox, NESN, Fenway Roush Racing Team, the Liverpool Football Club. So he only owns 2% of he already owned 2% of the Liverpool team, but now I'm not even sure what his next for this one is, but I understand why he did it. It's an investment move, but also leaves the door open for other sports celebrities, or I should say entertainers, to become owners of different teams.
But I think the thing is, though, that we have to look at is you have Magic in LA with the Dodgers, Jeter's in Miami. They want to have, a lot of these teams want to have that face to their ownership.
Michael Jordan with the Hornets.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I can understand Jordan with the Hornets is because it's NBA.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're going from NBA to Major League Baseball. Two different style games.
Okay, but look at another guy who just became a part owner of the team, Patrick Mahomes. He's now the part owner of the Royals.
Yeah.
You got to realize a lot of these guys. Well, Mahomes is different because Mahomes is more of he's looking towards the future, beyond football. But a lot of these, I think, these teams just want to have a face to their ownership. I mean, the fact that, look at the Mets, for example. And do you know how many, there was reports coming out that the Wilpons wanted A-Rod and J-Lo because it would have given them that face to the ownership. Now they're going through their whole crap with their relationship, so maybe that kind of worked out well.
I think the Mets are going to be fine with Uncle Stevie.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Why do you think LeBron did this?
It's probably what Carl said. It's an investment opportunity. I mean, if I was a professional athlete or I had that type of money that I made, whether it's, a musician, an actor, or I just was really good at investing, I'd be buying in, even if it's obviously you can't buy the whole thing because Fenway, at the last time I checked, is worth over $2 billion. Fenway Roush ownership group. You can't go and buy the whole thing, but I'll go buy a portion of it. I'll go and buy a 2% stake in the team. I'll go buy a 2% stake in the Liverpool Football Club or Everton or the LA Lakers or whatever. I'd gladly go and do that.
It's
an
LeBron.
investment opportunity.
It's LeBron. He can do whatever he wants to. He has a lot of money.
It's like, yeah,
he's won a lot of championships or 4
yeah.
championships.
It's like Carl said. It's having a face to your organization. You have a guy who's a 4-time NBA champion, considered one of the greatest players of all time. To have it to be the face of that organization with even just a small minority stake in the company, to know that a guy like that, a future Hall of Famer, is investing into that legendary baseball team. It's a no-brainer. I mean, yeah, LeBron has all the resources in the world to do whatever the hell he wants. He could buy stakes in every fucking team in the entire major leagues if he wants.
Yep.
But a lot of these guys are smart businessmen. They know what they're doing. So it's not like LeBron just bought into it just for the hell of it. He understands that there is a financial gain to this, and also a gain to help the organization. Say, Boston Red Sox, they're owned by LeBron James. Wow, I got to check. Partly owned by LeBron. I got to check this out, man. So it kind of helps bring in faces to that organization when it comes to whether it's on the business side of things or on the viewer side of things. So either way, it's a win-win situation for Boston and for LeBron.
Yeah,
it gives a face to the franchise, another face to the franchise, quite like Cam Newton of the Giants.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will run with this joke until we're blue in the face.
Just like Giants fans.
For those that do not know what this running gag on this show, this gag was born out of organic ranting last week on this show. And it was
again, I said at the beginning of the show, I take full responsibility for starting it, and I'm gonna continue it.
And the rest of our Nation Sports Show is not responsible for John having an aneurysm on air.
And if you guys want to go back and see this show, you can go right to our Nation Sports Show page and look in the archives, and you can find that episode.
There is strictly just a video of our rants.
If you want to blame somebody for this incident with John's aneurysm, you can blame the stat man himself, Kevin McDonald. Now back to our Nation Sports Show.
All right, Johnny, you ready to lead us into the AL Central?
Yeah. Okay. Guys, last couple of weeks we have been previewing every division. We've done the NL West, we've done the AL West, you name it, we've done it. But guys, we only have 3 more divisions left. And I say 3 because, as Stevie Wonder mentioned in the intro, 2 of them are going to be next week's show. I'll get to that when we get towards the end of the show. But for this show, for right now, we're making a pit stop in the American League Central. Now, do you guys have a specific team you want to start with in the AL Central? All right, because I got one I want to go with right now.
Sure thing. Go ahead.
And that's the Kansas City Royals. I just happened to find them on MLB.com. That's why we're going with it first. But this is a team that they had last year. Hold on, let me just pull up their stats from last year. 1 second here. What up, Carl?
Have a stats man right here.
I didn't say anything.
Come on, you guys. You got a statement over him, y'all. He can look at the stats while you go over y'all.
So these are the projections. I do not have the standings from last year up, but I can go and get that for you momentarily.
Well, stat man, you should have had this up.
So last season,
just like Cam to the Giants should have happened last week.
The standings from last season for AL Central was the Twins were first, Cleveland Indians and the White Sox were 1 game back behind them. The Kansas City Royals was 10 games back from first place, and the Detroit Tigers came in dead last at 12.
Yep.
Yeah,
Minnesota 36-24, Cleveland 35-25, along with Chicago. Kansas City 26-34, Detroit 23-35. Obviously, last year being the 60-game shortened season due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Correct.
Yep. I mean, let's look at Kansas City first. This is a team. They were at their highest of highs back in 2015 when they made it to the World Series and defeat the Mets in the World Series that year. But really, since then, I'm not going to sit here and say they haven't really done a lot, but they're not going in the way you should be going if you're a team who wants to contend. And I mean, yes, they do have the pieces. They got guys like Salvador Perez, Carlos Santana, Jorge Soler. They have the pieces. Michael Taylor's on the team. But what do you guys think? Why do you guys think there's been such a decline with them from when they won the World Series in 2015 to now, which mind you has only been 6 years ago?
I just think that it's because the coaching hasn't been, consistent. The players' play, hasn't been all too consistent. And I think Kansas City just needs to find some better coaching strategies and better game planning and all that stuff. And I think they can do it. It's just a matter of finding consistency within the whole organization.
Well, I think the funny part is that you look at their pitching staff first. I'm going based off MLB.com here. Here's who they have in their pitching staff: Brad Keller, Danny Duffy, Brady Singer, Mike Minor, and Chris Bubik. Do any of those names, if you're an opposing team, would any of those names scare you?
Nope.
No. The only one that would maybe raise an eyebrow for me would be Mike Minor, but that's about it.
But that
Minor.
But the thing is, with Mike, he's at best a third or fourth starter in the rotation. He's not going to be your ace. I mean, I'm just even looking. Bullpen with them, I mean, you got Wade Davis, who seems to be their key. You got Greg Holland, who, okay, he's not been bad. But the problem is they focus, I think, way too much. I think this is one of the things that ended up doing it to them on the offense. Because I'm just looking right now, looks like they use a lot of their pieces towards the offense because of guys like Soler and Dozier and Perez, where they didn't really focus that much on the pitching.
You can't just rely on the offense. You got to have other pieces of the puzzle that can fit within the team's organization. Their pitching, the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you got to do better, because if you want to have a good team to win the World Series, you got to have players on that team that can get the other team out.
It's all about balancing. It's all about balancing on both sides of the ball. Whether, balancing, you could have great hitters all you want, great pitching, but if you don't have the outfielders and the infielders to be able to make those big throws down those lanes to the right baseman or to the infielders, it's not going to get the job done.
Look at
every team. It doesn't matter what sport. You have to have balance on your team to make it work. Not one singular position or one singular side of the ball is going to win you championships.
The World Series series wins by the Red Sox and the Cardinals early on in this past decade. Those teams won because they had the complete package of a team, TEAM, team. They had good pitching, good hitters, and great defensive players that had a great mind for the game. If they were down, if they had a 3-2 and the other guy was up the bat and they had 2 guys or 3 guys on base, it could take one double play to get both of those guys out.
Yeah.
You could have multiple guys on, and one move can get both of those guys out for a nice double play, and that'll end the inning. If you don't have all the key ingredients to make a great baseball team, you're not going to make any somewhat of a run.
No, and let me ask you guys this. If you look back at the previous World Series winners in the last 10 years, can you name any team who's won the World Series but didn't have at least decent starting pitching?
Nope. Can't think of any.
Pitching, you know how I always say, in football, I always make the comparison of the offensive line. You need the offensive line to have a good quarterback.
Yes.
In baseball, the argument could be made, you need to have a good pitcher.
Again, John, I made the argument with you on the show a few weeks ago. Yes, you had to have great pitching, but I said it right now and I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. You had to have the complete package team to win the game. If you have a great pitcher, that's good. If you don't have the hitters that can compensate the pitcher, and if he's struggling and the hitters can get him out of that jam, or if the defensive side of the ball and they're not getting guys out, well, then you're not going to win hardly any games at all. They're going to be like the Royals from the past season, 10 games behind 500 and behind the division and all that stuff. So yeah.
But anybody else have any comments on Kansas City?
The one comment I'll make is they did trade for former Red Sox left fielder Andrew Benintendi, and hopefully he does well out in Kansas City. I'll forever remember the catch against Houston, the ALDS 2018, during probably, without a doubt, one of the best Red Sox teams in history.
Yes.
But, like you guys said, there's a few names on the offensive side that kind of, pique my interest a little bit, but it just seems that they're kind of destined to fall towards the bottom of the heap. I mean, the standings are being projected to be 71 and 91, fourth place.
That's not good.
No. Well, they're not Detroit. They got a massive leg up on Detroit.
I can only imagine what Detroit's projections are going to be.
Dude, 67 and 95, and I've seen lower.
But if nobody else has anything on Kansas City, we'll move to a team that I think is in basically the driver's seat in that division. And basically for that one, we have to move a little bit further up north, Minnesota Twins, who, I mean, they have the pitching. They have Michael Pineda. I forgot about him. They have J.A. Happ. They have the pieces. But what if I can speak English right now? What are your thoughts on the Twins looking at for this year? I'll send it to you first.
They're a team to be reckoned with, for sure, in the Central.
Yeah,
how they do against the rest of the league, yeah, that's to be seen. But I think they'll be repeating as AL Central champs.
Well, I mean, realistically, I think the only team we'll get to them in a bit. There is one team who I think could give them a run for their money, but I think it's safe to say at this point, Minnesota right now is a team that basically it's their division to lose. If that makes any sense.
It does.
And I solely base it off the fact of they got what's his face, Miguel Sano, who's had a pretty good career so far. They have the pieces there. They have Donaldson at third. They have Simmons at short. So the left side of their infield is two guys who have played this game.
Cruz is back. Nelson Cruz returns as well.
Nelson Cruz is there, so they have the pieces. Now we could sit here and, like we said, with all the teams we've gone over and all the rest of the teams that we're going to go over, on paper they look good. But being good on paper doesn't translate to
success.
The success on the field. And that's the big thing we have to focus on. We can sit here and tell you guys, oh, yeah, Minnesota's going to do great. And Minnesota can come out shitting bricks.
Yep.
Coming in April.
Could even see it happen with the LA Dodgers, where it just never clicks quite right. and they're the favorite to win the World Series this year.
And to me, like we talked about in our show, talking about them a few weeks ago, the Dodgers have the most pressure.
Yeah.
Out of any team to have any success, especially with the signing of
Kevin, what do they say that they're projected to win this year?
So their projections are 91-71, 61% odds to win the division. However, I would like to go and add the Minnesota Twins, all well and good to go and win the AL Central. Win a playoff series, and maybe people will go and take you seriously. The last time that they won a playoff series was in 2002 against the Oakland A's in the year that the Angels won the World Series. And then prior to that was 1991 when they won the World Series.
After 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, Kevin,
after that, it just nothing. And let's see, let me go and make a quick count here. 2, 3, 4. There have been since 2002, their last playoff series win. They have faced the Yankees 6 times in the ALDS and have lost all 6 with a combined win, series total. In the ALDS, it's a 5-game series, win 3 of 5. The Yankees pretty much own the Minnesota Twins in the ALDS. They are 18-2.
Wow.
There are 4 sweeps, and the first 2 ALDS losses to the Yankees in 03 and 04 were Yankees winning the series 3-1.
Wow.
Yeah.
So not only do you need to get past the first round of the playoffs, since there is they lost the AL wildcard game to the Yankees as well. So they're 2-19 against the Yankees in the playoffs since 2002.
Playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? I just thought they could win
again. Playoffs?
I just thought playoffs? You kidding me? I just thought that Minnesota could win a series. What have they done? Nothing. Hello? Playoffs?
You play to win the game. And
you
the Twins
play
can't
to
do
win
it.
the game. And apparently the Twins can't do it. And they want to do it. Don't quit on the team. Do not give games away because you have to play to win the game. You have to try. And if you want to make the playoffs, then you have to try hard to make the playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? Come on. Win a series. Win your division, Minnesota.
Well, I think the thing is, if you're Minnesota, you can have a great year. And then all of a sudden come the division time, you look, playoff time, and you look, and oh yeah, we get to go to the Bronx. Okay, let's book the golf tournament for next week because we'll be done.
Remember our vacation next week because we're gonna suck in the playoffs. Thank you.
But the thing is, though, Minnesota. I remember back to those early times when they would play the Yankees, and it seemed like within a week it was okay. Yankees eliminated Twins. And
yeah,
I think the last time that the Twins mattered was when Kirby Puckett played.
I wouldn't even go as far as saying Corey Hunter when he was on that team.
Who?
Corey Hunter, when he was the center. Not to the same level as Puckett, but
Puckett.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. And I'm going to make this into an ageist thing for a second here.
Oh, God.
You'll get my point in a second.
You just said age, Carl went, oh, God.
Talk to anybody I would say who was born late 70s or through the 80s, they remember Kirby Puckett. Talk to anybody basically from like 96 on, they're going to remember Torrey Hunter.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Fair.
Because I'll tell you right now, I remember watching clips on YouTube of Kirby Puckett, but I don't remember watching him. And I know I just screwed up my whole analogy there, but my point is this. The older generation is going to remember Puckett. The newer generation is going to remember Hunter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't saying anything specifically there.
But
You've
when I
also
was-
got
the
Joe Mauer.
implication.
I did. Jesus. Okay, let's move on.
Before we move on to the next team, where do you guys see Minnesota finishing this year? Because they had the team last year.
First place.
They'll be in first place.
Yeah.
Okay. If
They'll
they're,
I see them
lose
taking the
in
division.
first round.
But exactly, losing
But-
the first round of the playoffs.
playoffs. What is it going to take for the Twins to make that next move to win a playoff series?
Move to the National League.
I was going to say play any team but the Yankees, but I mean, they lost the Astros last year, which is a little more embarrassing because the Astros were one game below 500 last year playing in the playoffs. And they were within a few outs of going to the World Series.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think if I'm Minnesota, I think not only do you definitely want to beat the teams in your division. You want to beat the Chicago's, Cleveland's, and all that. But when the time comes, you want to be able to defeat the Yankees. And the problem is, this also comes down to the whole money thing. Look at what the Twins' salary is.
Okay.
Look what the Yankees' salary is. You have a free agent. Take any big name free agent. Are they more likely to go to New York or to Minnesota?
Probably New York.
They'll go to New York.
You could go to New
more
York,
likely
but
New York.
see, John, that analogy is a problem because if you remember, the Oakland A's had Billy Beane.
Yeah.
Moneyball. How did it look?
Oh, yeah. I get that. And I think a lot of it also has to do with who the general manager and who ownership goes after.
It's also who the manager of the team is because
But I don't know if the manager of the team really plays a role.
Yes.
Yes, it
Manager
does.
of the team really, really plays a major role.
John, you have to have a good manager that can manage the egos on a team. Look at the Dodgers. Look at the Yankees. Look at those teams that have had a big ass payroll when it comes to spending a shit ton of money. If you don't have a manager that can manage those egos and keep them in check, you're not going to have a lot of success on the
All right,
baseball.
I'm going to say this, John. As a Red Sox fan, I hate to say this, but look at the Yankees. 27 World Series rings. That tells you a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do one better, Carl. Joe Torre had who on the roster from 1996 to 2009? I mean, he had the who's who of baseball greats and legends and shouldn't have been unanimous Hall of Famers. I mean, look, he was able to go. No, there wasn't. Was Joe Girardi was the 09 World Series, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So just like all of that, he had Roger Clemens, he had Randy Johnson, Jason Giambi, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera. You go down the list of all the different egos. And I'll even go and mention last week's guest, Tanyan Sturtz. Not that he had an ego, but he played on the Yankees.
You
I'm
also
sure
had
you
Paul
probably
O'Neill.
had. You probably had a little bit of an ego because you played for the Yankees. Like as a Red Sox fan, I despise that team to no end, but they're still the top franchise in MLB because you see that logo everywhere.
And
it's, to a Boston fan, a very infuriating logo. But you see that logo and you know immediately what team you're looking at.
And to counteract what Kevin is saying, look at Trevor Bauer's going to the Dodgers. The Dodgers had this huge monkey on their back. You thought that their World Series team from last year was good? You have a pitcher on this team that has a shit ton of money with the Dodgers. He could have gone to the Mets and helped them become a good organization with their ownership with Steve Cohen. Bauer going to the Dodgers, to me, does nothing for them. Because yes, they can be good, but when you have a player of that capability and that caliber. One giant ego can screw up an entire team of any sport, football, basketball, any team, hockey. It doesn't matter.
No offense. Look at Odell Beckham with football.
Yeah.
Yes.
The biggest friggin' ego there is.
I think with him, the better term would be mega drama queen.
Oh yeah.
Look at the
Mega
Philadelphia
overrated
Eagles.
catcher.
Yep.
Yes. And the Philadelphia Eagles team from 2011. Oh, we're the self-proclaimed dream team. No, you're not.
I hope he stays with Cleveland.
Yeah, enjoy that, Anthony from Nebraska.
The simple fact that you have these players out of any organization in any sport that go to these teams and they think, oh, I can make a crap ton of money and I can live in the big city in Los Angeles, that they're in Hollywood, all them divas, them assholes, and New York is the big city that never sleeps, Philadelphia, Chicago, wherever you name it, the big cities in the world. And they think they can make a lot of money. Just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to have success in your respective sports. So if you, Trevor Bowers, think that you're going to have success with the Dodgers, if you think you're going to have success, you better show it on the field. Just like, I just said it 10 minutes ago about the manager. The manager has to manage everything with that team. He is responsible basically how the team does. Because if he doesn't have a good game plan going into these games or these series against these clubs, they're not going to have great success.
Nope.
And that's the one thing I'm piggyback with the Twins. The Twins have a good team, but do the Twins have the testicular fortitude to make that next move and to win a playoff series? And we
don't
won't
know what the Twins' testicles. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Oh.
Next team.
Next
Is that
team.
where we're going today on the show, guys? Is that where we're going?
I'm just very glad I didn't go and share the picture I saw earlier.
Okay, guys, let's move on to the Chicago White Sox.
Next.
The White Sox are a team, like I said before, I think they can give Minnesota a run for their money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously, we have our Chicago resident here, but we'll get to him in a second. The big thing with the White Sox, they got Keuchel and Lance Lynn in that pitching rotation. Now, Ezra, as the Chicago fan, what is it with this team that, because you support, you agree that they can give Minnesota, what is it with this team that they can do to give Minnesota a run?
Just what you said. They're pitching. From what a lot of experts and a lot of outside viewers have said, their pitching is one of the most lethal lineups in the entire league, and especially in this division. And don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I mean, look who we got. We got Adam Eaton, who came back from the team after a year or two in Washington. We got Jonas Cespedes. We got, of course, the heart of the team, the man who's just stuck around through everything, Jose Abreu, who's an absolute great power hitter. I mean, come on. And depending on how he does, we got the new manager, the great Tony La Russa, who's now a part of the team. Well, he's a part of the team as long as he stays out of behind the wheel of a car while drinking, but I digress. But I feel like this team, with the pitching staff being that the way it is, with Keuchel, with Lynn, and then also you can't forget about the new their new closer, Liam Hendricks, as well, that they just signed. Liam Hendricks, too. I think this team can give a Minnesota run for money when it comes to the pitching, when it comes to – hold on. Cespedes, this is from Hijacker in Discord. It says he needs to come back to Oakland. Sorry, buddy. We got him for right now. Maybe we'll talk. Maybe we'll talk in a few years. But no, seriously though, I think overall, when it just comes to Minnesota, if you look at last year and not compared to a normal schedule that over 100 some games, I'm talking about look at last year. They were only one game. I saw that they were only one game. They were only one game back behind Minnesota last year. Mind you, it was a shortened season, yes, but they were nipping on their heels. And why is that? Because their team is pretty well balanced. They're not focused on one particular side of the baseball, one particular part of the diamond. And I think that's what's going to help out drastically. And I think it's going to keep a consistent play for the White Sox to push forward and really, really try to nip on the heels of Minnesota. I know that from a lot of different, like I said, with a lot of different experts, they have a lot of different experts have been flip-flopping between the Twins and the Sox. They've been putting them number 1 and 2, and they've been interchangeable because, overall, it's anybody's game between those two teams specifically. I mean, personally, I would love to see the White Sox win this division again and move on into the playoffs. You bet your ass. But it's just going to be a matter of how they do on the diamond, and we'll find that out very soon. Go Sox.
Just to kind of correct you on one thing, Cespedes is not a White Sox. He hasn't signed yet to any team. He's still a free agent.
Good point. Thank you. I did read that wrong.
So Hijacker will be getting him back soon.
Yeah.
We're getting a nice try, bastard.
I'm not going to step into this one.
No. But seriously though, we got some great hitters. We got a great pitching staff. I think overall, the team has the capability to win this division. And as far as moving forward, it's going to be tough. But I think the AL Central in general is probably one of the most lethal divisions in the entire major leagues.
By the way, I'm just looking at who is on the team this year as far as coaches go. Obviously, we all know Tony La Russa is on the team as the manager. Yeah. Miguel Cairo is the bench coach. Ooh. And I found this interesting. Does his name Joe McEwen ring a bell? The former Met?
Mm-hmm. Actually, yeah.
He's the third base coach.
He should be the bench coach.
But here's one that shocked me. Shelly Duncan.
Really?
Former Yankee.
Wow.
But here's the best part. He's not a third base coach. He's the analytics coordinator.
Whoa.
Yes, Carl.
Fucking stat nerds. Great. He's the king of them. Great. Well, this guy, he's got a 10% chance of being able to go and hit a double in this situation. But if he goes and faces the curveball, he's got about a 30% chance of singling to right. We should probably go and pull him in for this guy who's able to go and hit a home run off of this pitcher.
Yeah.
Like we talked about on Monday.
I think that's Kevin's version of a rant.
Yes. Like we were talking about on Monday in the pre-show meeting. This is where some of these World Series teams have lost the damn games in the series. Let the pitchers pitch.
Here's a novel idea. Let's go and let Blake Snell, who's pitching really, really well, despite the fact that the dreaded third rotation through the batters is coming up, but he's still striking everybody out. He's still pitching like a madman. And, if you don't let him keep going, you might just lose the World Series to the Dodgers. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I can't, because we will get flagged.
Good point. Let's leave it at that.
Evan, just say it.
Nope.
Kevin.
Nope, I can't.
You try to do it.
I will say that all these stat nerds, and I'm not talking me, as the stat man of the group here. I'm different. I'm looking up what the stats are to go and fit what we're talking about. These are people that think their calculations and their numbers and their analytics are able to go and help the game, when really it's seeing the product on the field. It's having a feel for the game. It's not going and punching in numbers on a keyboard and a calculator and going, oh, look at this. I know how to do baseball stuff. No, it's not that at all. Jeez.
So it's basically Jonah Hill's character in real life.
Yes. Hated that movie too.
New segment on the show start. New segment on the show starting next week. What pisses off the stat man?
Oh, I could probably have a week's worth of shows. After this past week at work, I could probably have a couple weeks worth of shows.
Yeah, but let's move on before you lose the hair there, buddy. But I digress.
Do you see the hair here? How would I lose this hair?
Yeah, it escaped Ezra's head.
Ezra, if you want to go and say the running gag.
You better watch yourself there, Flex Seal.
Screw it. Let's have a rant right now. Throw a rant out there. Do it.
Look at
Hey, look, maybe Flex Seal will help John's healing heart, knowing that he's going to have to deal with Cam Newton on the Giants.
Yes.
It does fill in holes.
Look at his face.
It doesn't create holes.
Oh my God.
Oh wait, that's
Yes!
right. This isn't the roast, is it?
No.
Not yet.
He's trying so hard to keep a straight face. This is great. How much longer
Ladies and
can we
gentlemen,
go?
this is what we love. This is what we do on this show. Besides, give you the greatest sports talk you've ever heard by five idiots from all around the world and hijack. That's usually about it.
I'm from around the world, but I'm not an idiot.
Loud, come on. You're going to call me an idiot. Come on. No, I'm smarter than you.
What's up, John?
All right, John C. Riley. What's next, buddy?
Next team.
Next.
Next team.
Sure.
1,000%.
How could,
I think we're
1,000%
positive.
yes.
how could you be so sure? Next team.
Look at the Cleveland Indians. Or let me rephrase that. The Cleveland baseball team, because they probably won't be called the Indians. Or actually, no. If I
They'll
remember
probably change that by the time this goes on VOD.
if I remember correctly, didn't they say they were going to take the name back, and then they announced they were going to actually make it that this was going to be the last year for them
I believe
as the
so.
Indians?
I believe that's how it's working. That they are going to continue to be the Cleveland Indians and hopefully be able to have a name change in 2022.
Because apparently we live in a world right now where every team name has to be changed. But instead of actually coming up with good names,
It won't be until after the 2022 season.
Oh, that's even
but
longer.
Here's my issue with this whole thing. We sit there, and I understand, you want to change your Redskins name, okay, fine. But Cleveland Indians? At that point, then you should start changing every other team's name in every sport in North fucking America.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. This crap of, we got to change this team's name because it's offensive. Why? Yeah, and I understand the Redskins. Okay, fine. I understand why.
But they were called that team name for years before.
That's my thing, though, Stephen. It's not like these teams started last fucking week.
Right.
It's the fact that these teams. Shut up, Baldy.
It's the fact that they're honoring the lineage in that facility.
Exactly.
In that city.
Exactly. But what I don't understand is the Redskins were called the Redskins since the 20s. The Indians have been called Cleveland Indians. I know there was talks at one point of changing the Kansas City Chiefs name, and then the Atlanta Braves, I know, were being talked about. Why? You're not going to be able to you want to change the history of the world? Go right ahead. but you're changing the history of these sports teams that have been around for more than a cup of coffee. Shut up!
Sam Newton to the Giants, please. He did.
But this is my thing, though. This is my thing. Why?
Sam Newton to the Giants. That's your answer. Stop.
Oh, this is the part where we all just dive into our madness.
It's a madhouse.
This is what I don't
the song
understand.
I have in my head.
Yeah.
What is it?
Hold on.
What don't you understand?
And I'm looking right at the camera here for this one. The Cleveland Indians. Hold on. I want to see something here. Give me 1 second.
John, here's the worst part. Okay, I'm going to go to the football side for a minute.
Mhm.
The Washington football team was known as the Washington Redskins because of a fucking goddamn Native American gave them the name. Now, what are you going to do with college football? Florida Seminoles.
Yeah.
You're going to change their name too?
Okay. They've been called the Cleveland Indians since 1915. But all of a sudden now they're offensive?
See, I definitely a few years ago when they changed out the Chief Wahoo logo with the block C that they have now, I looked at that and went, okay, that's a good change because the Chief Wahoo logo, if you look at it, yeah, that one can look a little iffy.
They took away the chop.
Yeah, the Tomahawk. Well,
stupid.
The Atlanta Braves their fans still go and do it from time to time. The Kansas City Chiefs fans do too. Look, the best example that I have, I got two. One that's local to me with my high school. We were known as the Pentucket Sachems, and they voted this past year to much fervor and fanfare of getting rid of the Sachem name. And their reasoning is while talking to Native Americans who had tribes in the area where I grew up, they never had a word Sachem. So hearing that, I'm going, they looked into the history, found out that there wasn't actually a word in the tribes that were regional to me. Okay, well, that makes a ton of sense.
Right.
And the Chicago Blackhawks were able to come out and say, no, we are not doing anything offensive here. What we are doing is a tribute to the Native Americans in our region, to I think the Blackhawk tribe, I might be mistaken.
Yep.
Those are the two best examples that I have. I think the biggest problem with the Washington Redskins is their owner was always very resistant to the change. And it almost was a laugh in the faces of all these people that were, change the name. I think finally last summer, with all the social unrest
and
that
all
we
the
had,
movements,
all the different protests, all the riots, everything that transpired last summer, I think finally was that final nail in the coffin that started the Washington football team. Now, as a quick thing, keep the colors of the uniforms, but go and call yourself something that's related to DC. Call yourselves the Generals, the Warriors.
They could do one better. They could go Washington Senators, just like the damn football.
Yep, they could do the Washington.
No,
the Washington Senators.
No, Washington Senators was
they were
with Keanu Reeves. What's the movie?
The Replacements.
The Replacements.
And
they were known as the Washington Senators.
I think they were the let me go and double check. I think they were the Sentinels. That was a favorite movie of mine as a kid.
Washington Senators.
Okay, but while we looked it up, I'm just going.
And they actually played at the Washington football team's stadium.
They were the Sentinels.
Oh, they were the Sentinels.
They were the Sentinels. The Washington Senators are what is now the Minnesota Twins.
You're right.
Oh, Yeah, that's what I thought that said, but my point is this.
Real
Why-
stat man to the rescue.
But this is what I don't get, because I'm even looking. The latest team name given here, from what I'm gathering, was 2006. It looks like when Houston got their MLS team. So these teams have been around for a long ass time. But
You know what, John? And I'll add this right here. If any team in any North American sport should be offended to what their team name is, that is the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. They're a shit stain in the football
Because
league.
the Cleveland Browns, what's the running joke when you go to the bathroom? Oh, I just dropped the Browns off at the Super Bowl because they never been to the Super Bowl.
I mean, you also want to make the other left. Look at the Cincinnati Reds. Not saying their team, but the logo looks like a toilet.
You can say the same thing about the Montreal Canadiens.
Exactly. That was the thing I was picking up. I just didn't. But this is my point, though.
Rouge, blue, and black.
You're going to start changing these team names. You got to go all. You can't just pick and choose because this was offensive. This was offensive. No, you're going to start trying to rechange sports history here, and it's going to piss people like me off.
You know what?
I've always joked, like, look, just wait until PETA gets into this. Now we can't have Seahawks, Bears, Rams, Chargers, because technically a horse logo was used for the Chargers way back. The Broncos. Just go down the list of all the animal style names.
Dolphins.
And then the Dolphins, and then you've got the Jets. That's offensive to airline pilots because they wanted to be fighter jet, or Giants because it's offensive to people that haven't signed Cam Newton, or it's
I'm not even gonna respond to that one. Okay, hold on. We talk about team names that want to be changed, and this one's gonna shock you, shock everybody, because we want to change team names for being racist and insensitive.
Yes, I did. That was hilarious as shit.
There's a team that plays in the Bronx.
For the team.
There's a team that plays in the Bronx called the Yankees. And the Yankee, or a Yankee back in the southern U.S., the Yankee was a term for what they called the Northerners.
It's a term that's still used today.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're not going to touch that. But we're going to turn around and change a team's name that's honoring history.
Exactly.
You want to talk about honoring history? Look at the New England Patriots.
Yes.
They come out with a Minuteman.
I hate to say, but that point's there.
Yup. You cannot.
And you know what Kraft is going to turn and tell them? Fuck you. I ain't changing.
Yeah.
No, because you cannot change the course of history. It's already been done. As much as we have
goddamn snowflake motherfuckers.
As much as we have gone on this show and talked about those damn Astros in Houston with those trash can banging assholes, we cannot change the fact that they won the World Series in 2017 against the Dodgers. Wake up, America!
Cammy Newton went to town riding on a pony. He joined the New York Football Giants. John called him a jabroni.
Yes! Yes, 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 Ezra for the freaking win.
Ezra, by the way, how's that hairline going?
Oh, great.
It's got some funny
jokes. It's fading, just like your skin tone. But I digress.
Oh, actually, John, hold on.
John, as we're getting, it's not the roast yet, so hang tight.
What's faded away more, your hairline or the Bears' chances of making it to the Super Bowl?
To be honest, Cam Newton has a better chance of signing with the Giants than my team makes Super Bowl.
Or actually, let me rephrase that. Who has a better shot? No. I'm gonna wait for the roast.
Let's save that for the roast. But right now we got a few more teams. We got one or two more teams we still got to get through, good sir.
We can totally skip one. We all know that the Detroit
Oh,
Tigers
you mean
are
that
just,
team from up north of me?
yeah,
We
we,
can totally,
we
we can totally skip them if you want.
pretty much sum it up. The Detroit Tigers are not what they used to be at the beginning of the 2010s.
Nope.
Everybody knows they are not going to be good this year. They do have some key pieces, but it's just not going to be enough to amount to anything. Their projection is 67 and 95 with a 0.0% chance of winning the AL Central.
So there's
Not bad.
so there's really no chance of them doing anything.
No.
So the season for them will be over by Memorial Day.
It'll be like the Family Guy gag about the New York Mets. Welcome to the Major League Baseball season. Here's the pitch, and the season's over.
So basically, when we're here in July talking about teams being sellers, you're saying they'll be one of the sellers?
Who would you say are sellers?
The Tigers?
Oh, yeah, no.
Not the Patriots sending Cam Newton to the Giants?
Shut up. Shut up.
They probably won't be sellers just because I don't see any names are jumping off the page. But they might, one of their, this guy I keep forgetting about, Miguel Cabrera.
Oh, yes, that guy.
He, if anything, he would be traded.
Yeah.
Here's the big question. Why hasn't he been traded?
I don't know. Maybe he likes it there and he's fine with playing in Detroit and he doesn't mind helping out the young guys. I don't know if he doesn't mind losing at all, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I to me, Cabrera to me is going to go down as a very underrated player.
Yeah.
Bona fide Hall of Famer. I'm not going to take that away from him.
A guy that had a great run early on with Detroit that didn't get the job done. That's sometimes the way it runs because.
Hold on, Kevin, can you look up with Cabrera if he's has any World Series rings?
He does not.
Yeah,
Who,
he
Cabrera?
is. He has
No.
one in 2003.
Miguel Cabrera?
Yes, he does with Florida, the Marlins.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, hang on.
But no,
I don't remember he
went
son of a bitch.
Wow.
I completely forgot that he played for Florida. Now
Wow.
Miami.
Yep, Marlins 03 to 07.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll say this right
no
now.
offense, look at their when they started, look how much they had as a bankroll to bring in players.
Yep.
But I think the thing is, when you look at a guy like Cabrera, I'm not going out on a limb. If I am, it has to be a very strong limb to keep my body up. But I think Cabrera is going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying, to me, with what Cabrera has done, if he's not in Cooperstown by the time, obviously 5 years after he retires, but whatever that is, he'll definitely get it right. First ballot, probably not.
No. As long as the BBWAA are full of a bunch of olds who think the tradition is, well, you don't get in on the first ballot unless your name is Derek Jeter. Then you become unanimous, which is better than Babe Ruth, apparently. Until we get the olds out of the BBWAA, yeah, Miguel Cabrera will be a Hall of Famer about 7 years after he first becomes eligible.
Yep.
It's a fucking disgrace.
Yep.
I gotta give us credit tonight. Not too many F-bombs are dropped.
No,
We've still got time.
We've done it.
We're not done yet.
We've done a better job when it comes to controlling ourselves. Unlike last week when John and Kevin were about ready to have our throats out during the.
See, we're better today because Cam Newton, we already know, is going to the Giants.
He just gets increasingly madder and madder, while also just trying to keep composure and just keep going off. This is great.
He's
can't
never
tell
gonna
that-
have that aneurysm.
You can't tell
on
that
the
his
air.
face gets redder and redder because of the screen. He looks so pale.
But the simple fact that
Yes, the simple fact.
it took one team changing name topic with the Cleveland Indians to get this guy going on a rant about sports teams. And I know sometimes we do that because when we get something in our minds that is on our brains, we're going to talk about it because, man, cancel culture sucks big time.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Again, like we've been preaching, you can't change history because history has already happened. We can't change the fact that the cheating Astros won the World Series in 2017. We can't change the fact that the Atlanta Falcons had the single greatest choke job in North American sports against the Patriots 28-3, losing 34-28. I'm sorry, Falcon fans. If you had a better coaching staff, including Dan Quinn and freaking Kyle Shanahan not giving the freaking game away, then maybe your team would be champions. You can't change the course of history.
Steve. How about the damn Super Bowl with the Seahawks and Patriots? You're running the ball against us so many damn yards. The last play, you decide to throw the fucking ball?
Right.
You fucking retard.
Exactly.
Breaking news.
Wait, hang on.
Will Fuller has apparently signed with the Miami Dolphins.
Ooh.
Houston Texans wide receiver.
Signing bonus $9,635.11. Base salary $990,000. Incentives can bring his contract up to $3 million.
Well, Houston, we have a problem.
Just want to go quickly before we wrap it up for tonight. I know we didn't get to the other two teams, but unless anybody has anything else to say.
Oh, wait. Well, we already agreed on the Tigers that they're going to suck.
Really, the only other team, John, there's one more. There's one more in the division, and that being the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, because that's what kind of started my whole 5-minute rant there. By the way,
we
folks,
really didn't get into the Indians at all.
folks, that wasn't planned.
No chance.
Yeah, that was not one of our planned rants.
No.
Indians, I think, can have a pretty good year if they have consistent playing.
Well, the thing with the Indians that you have to remember, they got Shane Bieber.
Yep.
The guy had a stellar stellar run. And yes, I know I always make the comment, you can't base a guy's play off what happened last year because it was only 60 games.
Yeah.
But
great year.
He had a great year. To me, Cleveland is always that team that they go through hot and cold streaks. They'll go hot and they'll win 14-15 and then lose.
I'm
and
going to
they'll
say
lose.
this. Look at who your manager is for the Cleveland Indians.
Francona.
He's the one that coached the Red Sox to their first World Series in 96 years.
Yeah. But wasn't he also
86, sorry.
86.
Yeah. He knows this game.
Yeah, I know. You're not wrong on what you're saying there.
That's the thing. If a coach knows how to play the game, knows all the statistics on how to do things, they're going to make the team look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're not just going to sign some Joe Schmo off the street.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I think Cleveland might be the second best team in the AL Central this year.
It was a tie between Cleveland and the White Sox. If it wasn't a shortened season, I was going to say was going to definitely be Minnesota and Cleveland 1 and 2.
So I'm
the
going
AL. Steven, go.
I'm going to go with Okay. I'm picking Minnesota to win the division, but I am thinking that Cleveland's going to be a wild card team.
Yep.
Detroit, bottom of the barrel.
Detroit's just like the Giants because they're taking Cam Newton.
It's never.
I'm going to go ahead and give my picks on that before John's head explodes into a million pieces. is I'm gonna say Minnesota's gonna take the division, but I think Chicago is gonna be right on their heels, and then Minnesota's not gonna be that. Or Minnesota's gonna win. Chicago is gonna be on their heels, but I think that Cleveland is not gonna be that far behind either.
I'll make my picks quickly. I think Minnesota wins the division. I think Cleveland is in second. I don't think Chicago. I think Chicago's going to be on their tail, but I think what's going to give Chicago the disadvantage to an extent now, not in the future, is the age aspect because they're a young team.
Absolutely.
So they're poised to make a run 5-6 years down the road. Not saying I don't think they're going to become a little bit of a nuisance in Minnesota. And Detroit, let's just call it what it is. Detroit's going to be playing golf come.
Yeah, Chicago's gonna make some noise. They're gonna make noise this year with this young team full of great players, a pitching staff that is considered many to be one of the most lethal in the entire game, and a great hitting core, great outfielders and fielders. I think they're gonna make noise. Will they win the division or will they go to a World Series? That remains to be seen. I doubt it because of how young they are. That's why I went with Minnesota. I think Minnesota's more of a seasoned team, and I'm thinking they're finally making the corrections to get themselves back to where they should be, and that it is winning the division and moving on to the next round.
Absolutely. Kevin, what about you? Who do you think wins?
I think the Twins win the division. Can't get by the Yankees or Astros in the playoffs. I think Chicago is probably going to be nipping at the heels of Minnesota more than Cleveland. Cleveland will be close, but I really do think, if I'm a Cleveland Indians player and I go and see the deal with the Mets that gave the Mets Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, which we will cover next week, I believe.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
I'd feel a little dejected that ownership didn't want to go and keep two of the best players on the roster and decided to go and ship them off elsewhere. I don't know if I would really have the heart to go and play. And like we said, it just Detroit, they are who they are. Kansas City, they are who they are. But you never know. Baseball is a funky sport.
Yes,
it really is. You could have a team like a Kansas City, let's say, surprise everybody and get hot, like white hot in August, and now all of a sudden they're contending for a wild card spot.
Look at the what's that team up? The Nationals when they went on their run in 19.
Yeah.
Oh boy, did they get white hot because when they fought, whenever facing the Dodgers in that hard fought series. That one critical move to get, I believe it was Kershaw, out of the game.
Yep.
That was, again, like we've been saying, why are you getting rid of these pitchers? Because you freaking stat nerds got your head so far up your butts because you sit there and say that, oh, well, if we get this guy out of here, Kershaw, even though he's pitching great, we put this guy in, well, then there's a chance we get us the rest of the outs. No, if the guy is pitching well, keep him in the game. Otherwise, you're playing to lose the game. And the guy comes in there, hits the home run, and the game is tied. And the next thing you know, ta-da, zippity-da, zippity-day, my, oh my, what a shitty day. They had the game clinching home run win, basically, that's crushed the Dodgers in that series. And then they went to beat the cheating ass Astros in the World Series in 7 games. So again, there might be a team out of this whole crop of season, out of the AL or the NL. We don't know yet. Have to wait and see. But the simple fact that there might be a team that can make that push, that can make that run, that we won't, figure out what's going to happen. And man, when it does, it's going to be something special because, like Kevin just said, baseball can be a funky sport.
Yeah, and we can go play that. We can go play that funky music, wait, boy.
Yeah.
But guys, unless nobody else has anything else they want to bring up, I think it's time we wrap the show up.
Just wanted to say what a really good show tonight. Despite busting your balls in and out a couple of times about going to the Giants. But anyways, what a great show. Always great working with you guys, talking sports and having fun. And man, do we have a busy show for everybody next week.
Which I'll get to that in a second. But final thoughts, Carl, let's start with you.
All I gotta say is just remember our loved ones that we lost. Remember love your loved ones that you have, and get vaccinated and wear your mask.
Absolutely, Ezra.
What a great show tonight. Absolutely great discussions. Definitely thank you guys for having me on again this week. I'm beyond honored to be a part of this journey in some form or another on both shows, actually, on our Partners in the Nation show, as well as being on here with you guys talking sports. Can't wait till we get into some more MMA discussion here soon. I know next week, if we can fit it in, we got a huge UFC event coming up with a huge heavyweight title fight. We'll probably maybe get a little bit of touch on that next week, but I can't wait for next week's show. So definitely hopefully we'll be back.
Yeah, absolutely. Statman, what about you? Final thoughts?
Well,
Did you take the New England clam chowder out of your head yet?
yes, I took the New England clam chowder out of your head. I'm sending it your way with Cam Newton. No, I guess my final thought tonight is, I'm a person that generally tries to not go and discuss politics too much, to try not to get too much into social talking points,
Confrontations.
social confrontations, just because I know right now everything is incredibly polarized, politicized, and it's in a way it's weaponized as well. But the one thing that I would like to go and say before we leave tonight is this rise in hate and attacks on Asian Americans, Polynesian islands, the islands out in the Pacific Ocean, and those in Asian cultures, Japan, China, Indonesia, Thailand, everybody over there. All these attacks over in the U.S. I wish I could go and say that that's not what America is, but the more that I see this happening, the more I think maybe it is. And that's not the America I want.
Nope.
I want to live in a world, in a country where we have our differences with people, but we don't have differences with people because of what they look like or because of the color of their skin, their gender identity, sexual orientation, their religion, anything, and it hurts my very empathetic and compassionate heart to go and see all these people with these unprovoked attacks in the Asian communities, especially the guy in Georgia this past week. I was watching a video of a woman in San Francisco who, fortunately, she fought back. And even as the guy who attacked her is strapped up to a gurney, she's still trying to get at him. It needs to stop. It really needs to stop. There's enough bullshit going on in the world right now.
Yep.
We don't need to continue to add to it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just be nice to your neighbor, be nice to your family, be nice to your friends. Don't be a dick.
Yep.
And above all else, if it's something that you don't agree with, don't waste it.
Yep.
Just stay away. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Don't do anything stupid.
You mean like the Patriots sending Cam Newton to the Giants?
Yes. Actually would be stupid since Cam Newton did re-sign with the Patriots. So as much as we're ribbing John quite a bit over this, we know that Cam Newton is unfortunately the quarterback for the New England Patriots.
Well, there's always still the trade during the season.
It is entirely possible, but I don't think that would happen.
No, I don't think.
Well, hold on a second. We didn't touch on something that the Patriots did with all of these signings.
Mm-hmm.
They traded away Marcus Cannon. They got the 4th, 5th, and 6th round of this year's draft. So they could pull in a quarterback.
You are screwed, Johnny boy.
Okay, two things. One, quick NFL note. It's being reported right now by Ian Ratwell, actually reported about less than 10 minutes ago. Former Raiders DB LaMarcus Joyner is expected to sign with the Jets. Sources say he'll have the opportunity to play safety, which is what he wanted, rather than nickel like he did last year in Las Vegas. Hijacker, I'm sorry about that news, buddy. But one thing I just want to mention.
He doesn't even support Las Vegas Raiders. So what the hell are you talking about?
I'm just busting chops.
I know.
No, the only chops you got gets busted is yours.
Yeah, I know. What I was going to say was this. Going back to what everybody else is saying, and I'm going to just concur with what everybody else said. Don't be an ass. Because somebody may not be the same gender as you, the same religion, that doesn't mean you have to be a douche about it. In addition to that, also, I would like to send a happy anniversary, I guess is the way to put it, because it was 14 years ago today that we lost my grandfather, who, if he was still around today, he's the reason why I always call Mike Piazza Pizza Man. So, Grandpa, if you're watching this up there with Grandma and, everybody just know we're still grinding here. I miss your calls when we were talking after Met games, and I do miss you. But Cam Newton.
In closing, I like to say,
Yeah.
like Kevin's been saying, and like everybody's been saying, be good to your fellow friends, your neighbors, your family, and even strangers. Don't be an ass. Treat people with kindness, because you being a great person to society, being a good human being to the human race will do you good in the long run, because the old saying goes, good things come to those that wait. So people, be good. Don't be an ass.
The other thing also I would like to mention, it won't be the last time you'll see myself, Carl, and Steven this week, because we will all be hosting the Nation Show this Saturday.
Yep.
You will see the three of us again. And looking ahead to next week, next week's a major show for us. It's our last week of covering MLB, because, guys, the week after, it's opening fucking day.
We are going to be live during the first game of the new season.
Oh my God, that just gives me goosebumps. Just that notion alone gives me goosebumps. Guys, next week on the show, we left the two divisions, the two biggest divisions for last. That's the American League East and the National League East. So if you're a fan of any of those teams, you're not going to want to miss, because I can guarantee you this: sparks will fly, and we will find that kaboom.
Will there be an earth-shattering kaboom?
Yes, there will be.
Oh, yeah, it will, because I'm going to say it right now, fuck Yankees.
I wasn't going to end it with that one. I was going to save that till next week.
Oh, no, I'm going to start it this week and just let it brew.
Well, I would say one thing for you guys. I will be live at opening day here in Oakland, but the show will be off because it'll be 7 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So maybe I'll just record something and we can throw it on the following week's show.
Absolutely,
Definitely, my brother.
Absolutely. And after what you did with the boxing thing,
all good, guys.
Yeah.
All good.
Mad props again, brother, man. That opening, especially with the intro, man, that was phenomenal.
Appreciate it a lot, guys.
Yep, you can catch Nation Night Fights every week here on our Nation Sports Show. And you can check out clips of that and everything else on our Nation Sports Show YouTube account, as well as all social media.
Absolutely. Yep. But guys, this has been another great show. But unfortunately, it's time for us to go. For Carl, for Kevin, for Steven, for Ezra, for Hijacker, and for the rest of the crew, this is John with another installment of Our Nation Sports Show. Catch you guys this Saturday as myself, Carl, and Stephen will be hosting. And we will see you guys here again next week, same time, same channel.
Peace.
Peace.
Stay hot.
Kansas City Giants.